All right, welcome back to Undefining the podcast, where we have real conversations with artists, creators, and change makers, comedians, funny comedians who are reshaping culture by living outside the lines. I'm your host, Glo Butler, and each episode we dig into the experiences, stories, and perspectives that often go untold. Let's check it out. Right, today I'm joined by the hilarious and dynamic Kenice Mobley, a stand-up comedian and filmmaker based in Brooklyn, New York. Kenice has performed stand-up around the world, made her late-night debut on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and was named one of Vulture's comedians you should and will know. She's graced stages at festivals like Netflix's A Joke, premiered a solo show at Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and has worked on major productions like the BET Awards and Comedy Central's Creators Program. Her debut comedy album, Follow Up Question, was featured as one of Paste Magazine's best comedy albums of the year. Kenice isn't just a stand-up. She's a sharp writer, host, and cultural voice who brings humor and depth to every project she touches. Kenice, how are you today?
I'm a sharp cultural voice. Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it.
I had to gas you up. I had to. That's
I appreciate that. I'll take the gas. I am doing all right. I am in North Carolina, which I am partially allergic to. It is my home state, but
Okay.
for some reason my body reacts poorly to the plants. So my eyes are like puffy, and I may sneeze throughout the course of this interview. But
We'll make
yeah.
it part of the background music.
Yes, my sneezes are very loud. I was yelled at them. I was yelled at for them in school because people were like, "This is distracting." The band director was like, "Is someone doing that on purpose, like to like sabotage band practice or something?" But no, that's just my face, and I sneeze.
You
So
know what? I'm gonna be honest. I've been one of those people that have. I just realized my window's open, but it's okay. But I'm one of those people that almost get pissed off if it's like a just a terrible sneeze. Like my partner would be like, she'll sneeze, but she'll be like, "I'm trying something new." I'm like, "Don't do that."
what does that mean? You're trying something new. We're experimenting with a body response. Okay.
Exactly. So that's why I said.
What is she trying? What?
And it's one of those where like you feel the sneeze coming, but you're like, I want to let it out a different kind of way. And
Yeah.
I think that pisses me. That's my thing. I get that's if it's one of those sneezes that I think I just don't like the sneezes that are like the
Oh no, my sneezes are like that's like when I think of that, that's like a squirrel sneeze or a little mouse. Oh, achoo. Mine is like an elephant, like like
oh wow.
yeah.
Yeah, everybody shook. Everybody shook through that
Uh,
sneeze.
They all pause and
Yeah.
definitely. Oh, I remember I was staying at my friend's house for a night, and he heard me. He hadn't heard me like blow my nose or sneeze for the first time.
Yeah.
He hadn't heard me do those things before, and he was just like, "Are you okay?" Like he came to the door of the bathroom and was like, "Are are you sick? I don't know what that is. Like I've never heard that before."
Did you give
So
birth? Or is there
yeah,
something
what
happening
is
outside?
that? So yeah.
Wow. Wow, so you have like a signature sneeze. That's really awesome. I love that. I love that for you. You know what I
Thank
mean?
you, thank you. I'm
I,
hoping it carries me to the heights of success. My signature sneeze.
oh man, but allergy season right now I think it's also really bad allergy season. I've been fighting it for 2 weeks now.
Mm.
So I think so I can imagine what it's like being in the South right now and dealing with the bugs, the
There's so many
gnats.
plants and bugs everywhere. Like I don't even live in the country like that, but
Yeah.
there are deer like
Oh,
truly every day. There's like a family of deer that just wanders around, and like
that's
all the neighbors just know these deer now, so they just like hang out, and it's just there's so much nature.
I bet you there's like a name. Bet you there's somebody out there like that's named this entire family that
Yeah.
knows. You know what I mean?
Because
Like
there's like a mom, and then there's like little ones, and they're like
yeah.
growing up because like they started with spots, and now I think they're growing out of their having spots phase.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I've been I'm from South Carolina, and I used to,
Ah, wait, which
yeah,
part?
I'm from Charleston. I'm from
Ah,
Charleston.
oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's it's
So
like sort of a city in a state that is like
ish.
more rural. I
Yeah.
went to Charleston when I was a kid, and I saw women weaving baskets, and it was like black women weaving baskets, and I was like, do they know they're free? Like, do they know that they don't have to do this anymore? Like,
But
I was very concerned with the women in the baskets.
Yeah, and that's the thing about, that's, it's a fine line with the things that with our ancestors and the things that we keep tradition, with the struggle, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I mean, though, yeah, they don't have to do that anymore, and a lot of times now the people now that are keeping it going, they are fully aware, that they're
Okay.
wrong, that they've had real jobs. But I would say, like, my great grandmother could do that. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
they've been out there like, okay, this is just what all I know to do for a
Yeah.
job. So yeah, I don't know if, yeah, I think I think those women might have died off by
Okay.
now, but the people who are keeping it going, they're doing that on purpose. So
Okay.
yeah,
Cool. Cool. Cool.
yeah.
Cool. Cool.
But it's been super gentrified, as you probably already know.
Yeah.
It's not the same. The culture in it is there, but the people buying it is there. Who knows? There are white people out there buying cotton. So, in the South. So we're not.
Yeah. What?
Everything's triggering.
Yeah. There's a lot of people so I think 3 people I know, their parents have bought homes in or around Charleston, and they're like from New York, from New Jersey, from Boston, but they're like all resettling there, and I'm just like,
Yes.
you could choose anywhere, and that's where you choose. No offense. I'm like,
No.
I realize that is a potential insult to your homeland, but I'm just like, okay.
It's true because let me tell you, like, even where College of Charleston is, there was when I lived there, I moved away when I was like maybe 22 or something, 21.
Mhm.
But when I was there, there were a lot of College of Charleston kids that were getting robbed, and because this is when the whole, like, people are like, oh, there's Charleston, we can go down there and we can buy up these houses and stuff like that.
Yes.
And they were getting around. I was like, yeah, because it's downtown, the part where you don't walk or don't go anywhere. And my mom to this day says, like, they're still robbing them. Like, 'cause they're pissed off. They're pissed off that, like, it's so gentrified, and they're using these homes that are pretty much abandoned, or like people can't afford it. They're moving people who've lived there all these years out, and now these houses are like millions of dollars. It's wild. It's really wild. I watch House Hunters religiously, and there
Nice.
was a white girl in there that her parents were looking for her, buying a place for her and her roommates' money.
Okay,
So
yeah, it's like I've
everything.
never experienced that, but sure, 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 sure.
Right. I would. Does my parents not love me enough?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
that's what it is. That they don't love us enough. And if they loved us, they would
we
have
would not
changed
do
the
this.
system, and they would have made it fundamentally different, and then they would have done it. But they did it, which means they didn't love us. Okay.
Exactly. That's the 2 and 2 I'm putting together right now.
Mhm. Mhm.
But that's what's happening. They all own these houses, and it's like, it's just, everything's expensive now. So pretty much now it's not even cheaper to move down there because everything just costs as much as it does in New York. So
Ugh.
it's all bad. It's all bad.
Yeah.
And I want them to do this with, like, the Midwest. I want them to go to, like, Wyoming and do this stuff.
And
You
like,
know
it's
what I
so
mean?
beautiful. Let's buy a house.
Right, right.
Yeah.
It's cheap there. There's a lot. They need that. But I don't know. Maybe they're afraid of the tornadoes or something. But all right, I love this history back and forth this history lesson
Yes.
back and forth. There are a lot of people out there that do not know about what the South is like or what it was like living there. But I do want to get into comedy and all that fun stuff because that's who I know you as, is a very
Yes.
funny, hilarious comedian.
Thank you so
Um,
much.
this is not a part of my first question, but what really, and I remember this is a while ago, but your Harriet Tubman joke, that was
Mm.
the one that was the one that I was just like, oh my god, this person's gonna be something human, special one day. I don't know.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
it's
Thank
my name.
you.
Yeah. All right, so you've said comedy has taken you around the world,
Mhm.
right? And I just learned how to pronounce Edinburgh, just so you know.
Yes.
It's a little confession I have to say. I was like, Edinburgh.
It's
But,
honestly, it's a small city. It's not that big of a deal. I don't think, like, outside of it having a fringe festival, I wouldn't have gone to it probably.
yeah, that's
It
kind
was
of what
fun.
I've grasped from, like, the photos or just, like, the recap of what everybody. I'm like, this is a nice place to go and relax, maybe, or, like, if you're, like, a nature person. But
Yeah.
other than that, yeah. But if we rewind to a bit, what's a memory from your early life or childhood that you think that? Can I say this question over again? I'm sorry. I literally just got out of bed an hour ago.
It's
Just
fine.
FYI.
It's fine.
All right. So, but if we rewind a bit, what's a memory from your early life or childhood that you think secretly prepared you for stand-up?
Interesting. A memory from my early life or childhood. Okay, so there's a lot of I I don't think I was like a particularly funny kid. Like when my family found out I was doing stand up, I think they were very surprised because I'm an identical twin and I am not the talkative one of the
I did not know
twins.
you were an identical twin.
Yes, I have an identical twin sister. She lives in Baltimore, but and we're very close. It's just yeah, we are very different, and it's funny because she used to be the more outspoken one, and now I'm the one who gets on stages and says things constantly. I think me being frustrated is probably one of the things that led to me speaking up about things, and it's like anything. Like one memory that my family reminds me of constantly is kindergarten, first day of school. My mom and my aunt have walked me and my sister to the bus stop where we're going to catch the bus and it's going to be really cute and they had a recording like an old style camcorder, and after a while the bus hasn't come, the bus hasn't come, the bus hasn't come. I'm wearing a watch and I'm like, we are standing here, but we have missed the bus. Like I'm very clearly articulating that, and they're not listening to me. And so I like hold my watch up to the thing, and I'm like, "We have missed the bus. We need to go." And so that is one of the things that they remember from my childhood is me being like, "Are you? We're late, huh?" Um,
That is hilarious.
so
That
me
was
being like, "I'm 5 and I want to go to school. Let's make it happen."
right, right.
Yeah.
But and honestly, those are the moments that you realize you have a voice, you know, and that you're like, hey, you know, I should probably say something because clearly they don't get it.
Yeah, they're not understanding what's happening, so I'm gonna speak
Right,
up
right.
and we had missed the bus, okay? Just to
Well,
be
yeah, I
clear.
was like, did y'all miss?
Yes, we had missed the bus, okay? And I'm happy that I said what I said. Even at 5, I stand by those words, okay?
You know, and that's my thing. I was just thinking about that the other day too, about like how, you know, there are probably, well, if you can like rewind to like your, like you as that 5-year-old and stuff, I'm pretty sure there were a lot of thoughts that you had that when you think about it, you were probably a lot brighter than a lot of the adults out here because you saw things from like a lens of not, you know, all this trauma, all this weird stuff already. You know, it's like you can see things clearly for what it is, whereas like adults are like thinking about a million things at one time, you know, and they, of course, your mom has twins right in front
Yeah.
of her, you know what I mean? So it's just like you're looking and you're like, let me just state the obvious right
Yeah.
now.
We've been out here, we've been waiting. The situation has not changed. The bus was supposed to be here this time, it's past that time. So what are we doing here? What we're doing is not getting to school. That's the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like all I know is like we're gonna be here for like half a day, and then you're gonna realize like you
Yeah,
have missed the
and
bus.
I want to get to school, and I liked school, and I
That's
liked
funny.
like
Yeah,
I
that
was
was
a dorky kid. I liked books, I liked class, I liked all that stuff. So yeah, I was like, let me get to school.
yeah, that's really cool. I hated school.
What?
Yeah, but it wasn't. You know, I didn't. Also, were your parents like strict about you in school, or did they just like know that you were they were gonna expect you to make your grades? They knew that you were like good.
There was the expectation to get good grades, definitely.
Okay.
Like I remember there was like a semester in middle school when my grades slipped, and then like activities changed. Like it was like, no, you're getting good grades. Like that's what you're
Yeah.
here to do. You're getting good grades.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Yeah, and I always blame that because my mom was just like, she wasn't so much about concerned about grades, but more like that we became good people and
Oh,
personality.
that's
And I'm
good.
like, that's good, but I mean, I want
Yeah.
balance.
You could have done
Like,
both, but it is good. Like some parents are not focused on their children being good people, and
no,
it's obvious. Like
that's true. That's
based
true.
on like what we're seeing in the world,
Oh
some of
my
these kids that
goodness.
was not a priority for their
It,
parents.
it
So
was not. It was just having money and being able to pay for your way through everything.
yeah.
Yeah, but so how did how did your family feel when you're like, hey, I'm gonna do stand up, or is that something you told them right away? Did you start those
Yeah, I
conversations,
did
or
tell them right away. I told them I think when I was going to do my first open mic, my mom happened to be, so I was in Boston when I started stand up. And the first show I was ever booked on, my mom happened to be in town
oh, okay,
that weekend, so she
yeah,
went to the show and I
okay,
did all right on the show, but it was just very funny that my mom saw the first time I did booked stand up.
that's
Um,
amazing.
so yeah.
Yeah, that brought you closer, I'm sure, because
Me and my mom fortunately are pretty close.
oh, that's
Uh,
good. That's good.
but yeah, I just because I talk about things. I say dirty stuff. I joke about things that are ridiculous and absurd. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool that my mom is like, okay, instead of you're bad, you are an indecent lady. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean that's cool, and at least like my mom was one of those people like I'm not your friend, and that was the relationship we had our entire life, probably to this day. Like we're just,
What?
I think she does try, but it's like no, we talk as adults. Like
Okay.
that's kind of like our relationship. We just talk as adults, and we respect each other as adults, and that's the way it is. Like, but are we going to talk about? Do I go in and be like, oh, so this is my dating life, or this is X, Y, and Z, or I talk about my feelings?
Uh
No,
huh.
because I know what I'm going to get.
Interesting. Okay, I talk about my feelings. I talk about my dating life.
Yeah.
I probably tell my mom too much, honestly, and she
She's like,
seems
oh,
cool
this
with it.
guy last night.
Yeah, honestly,
Right.
I'm like, I don't like him like
Yeah.
that. Da, 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 da,
Yeah.
da, da, da. So
And that's fair. You should be able. That means you have a safe space. You know, that
yes,
means you have a safe. I don't have a safe space.
I'm sorry. Like I hope that you find one, like within your family. That is, like it seems like you've formed safe spaces in other ways.
In other ways, yeah, I've
Yes,
definitely been able to find it in other ways.
good,
But thank you for being my therapist right now because this feels really good. I'm glad to get it off my chest.
good, good.
That's the best part about having a podcast. You just end up talking about like you end up realizing who you are
Mm-hmm.
and that you don't need nobody. No, I'm just
You
kidding.
need some people, but
You
you
need
have been able to cultivate a group of people that you
yeah,
care about you, that are your safe space. So
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
and you
And
don't
at
need
least
external people, but you need those people.
you need people. I think it's always healthy to have people in your life that
Yes.
where you're just like, hey, talk to them. But also, safe spaces do require. People have different meanings of safe spaces, so
Yes.
it's like if somebody's going to come to you for a safe space, that's not like a safe space isn't for you to like give an opinion. Trust me, I've been guilty of that too. Because somebody's going to go, but
Well, have you
it's
thought
not.
about doing this? What about if you changed? How about that?
Right, exactly. I was like,
Yeah.
no, until somebody made a TikTok, and I was like, oh my god, I've been an extremely safe spacer. Like,
But the
okay,
fact that people still feel as though they can come to you is an important part of that. Like,
yes,
I'm so frustrated at the right has co-opted the term safe space to mean
hmm,
a space where I can't say nothing. Eh.
right, right,
But no, just like a group that you feel comfortable to be yourself in, and they act like that in and of itself is bad.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
honey, it sounds like you need a space where you feel safe to be in. It sounds like you lack support and you don't think anyone else should have it.
All
Like,
projection, all
yeah.
projection. That's rough. Yeah. But it is what it is. You grow up, you live and you learn, and I think that and we have to remember that our first interactions, our first relationships that we have with any human is our parents or with our family members. So whatever they give us and whatever relationship we have, that's how at least the stages of our life where we develop who we are, and then as
Hmm.
adults we're like, oh, I need therapy. You know? No, wait, I do need therapy. Okay. So moving on, your path includes stand-up. You said you have a background in filmmaking
Hmm.
you went to school, filmmaking school, hosting and writing. What moments pushed you to expand beyond the mic and tell stories in multiple formats? So I know like a lot of people are like, hey, you're a stand-up comedian, but I'm sure there are other. Yeah, what came first? Also, I know you said filmmaking, but yeah.
Sure. So filmmaking came first, and actually, so undergrad, I did history and psychology because those are the things that interest me, and I was
Okay.
on a path towards getting a PhD in psychology. So I had already worked with a professor from Howard University, and the plan was that I would graduate. I went to North Carolina Central University, and then I was going to go to another HBCU and get my PhD in psychology. So that's the plan, and I had some of that set up. Then one summer, I worked in DC at the American Psychological Association.
Hmm.
And so I worked there as an intern for the summer. And it was fine, but I didn't really care about it. But it was part
Okay.
of the UNC DC program where
Okay.
kids from the, what is it, 14 constituent University of North Carolina schools all go
Hmm.
to like an apartment building in Washington, D.C., and they all have internships, but they also take classes together and work together. And it was my first time, like, going out and drinking, which it was a thing that I hadn't really done before. It was my
Hmm.
first time socializing in different ways, and it was the first time I was hanging out with people who it didn't feel like they were judging me and being like, you should be different. They were more so like, Kenice, it's really obvious that you like movies and you should do something with that. So based on that, I went to film school, did film
Okay.
school, which was a culture shock because it was in Boston, so it was like very different. It is a big drinking city, but
Yes.
also like going from where I'm being judged for my academics to being judged on my creativity was different, and being one of two women in a class of 12 and
Okay.
the only black person. And
Yeah.
so it was just like going from an HBCU, that was different. So there was a lot of issues there, and I didn't feel necessarily fulfilled or plugged into a future in film.
Yeah.
And then I started like I dated someone who said they were a comedian. They
Mm.
took me to a show. It was an open mic. It was really bad. He was so bad that I like we broke up truly like within the next few days because I was like, I don't understand like the type of person who could think what you said was funny like makes me question like your thought processes and how you see the
Yeah.
world and what type of partner you'd be ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I moved back to Boston and started some jobs at startups, and then started stand up for myself because I was like, if he can do it, then I can do it. Like,
Right.
and now I've been doing it. Um, that's what got me started. Was like a moving from academic to creative stuff,
Mhm.
seeing that there's a lot of different things that are within that category, and then doing
Okay.
stand up. But specifically, like in Boston, if you do stand up, you're also going to be asked to do storytelling shows. You're
Right.
also going to be asked to MC burlesque shows and like
Okay.
do like burlesque related shows, and there's probably going to be some science related thing. So just
Okay.
by dint of being in a city where it is such an academic and weird arts community, you
Mhm.
will be involved in these other things.
Okay. Okay. Because they're kind of all like connected in some way.
Yes.
Wow. So it's almost like wow. That was kind of like that's interesting. I think everything depends on like what scene, what area you are in comedy,
Yes.
because like every scene is definitely completely different than the other. And I didn't know Boston was that was all in Boston.
Yes. But and it has a lot of young highly educated people, and I like that like I love living in Brooklyn now. I like being around brown people, which was not the case there. But I do think
Mm-hmm.
comedically starting in Boston where you are expected to write a lot because there are a fair number of open mics and stuff. You do have the opportunity to get up every night if you want to get up every night and tell
Mm-hmm.
jokes, but it's also audiences are like it a silly voice and a face aren't going to cut it here.
Gotcha.
Like
Yeah.
LA humor, like where it's like I'm an actor, but I do this so that more people see me. That's not going to cut it in Boston. You
Yeah.
have to actually like have like witty repartee that makes people think, and I'm happy that I came up with that as the expectation.
That makes a lot of sense now because a lot of comedians that either started or have lived or have been in Boston, like they're very that pretty much explains like their style. Like I feel like I'm going to get something like smart jokes. You know what I mean? Not
Yes.
just like your typical, hey, we're walking into a bar, or let me tell you about this person that I slept with, or let me talk about my dating life. Like you're really gonna like tell stories. You're really gonna talk about things, kind of stretch the mind. I did not know that. I wonder if Boston. So Boston comedy scene is pretty like you like it's a pretty good scene, I guess, in a way.
It was. I know that because like I moved away in 2016, and then I've maintained friendships, thankfully, with a lot of people. But they all talk about how drastically COVID changed the scene. So like a
Right.
lot of the old institutions changed, were sold, died, like whatever. So that like there's all these new people coming up who weren't oriented
Part
towards
of that.
this
Mm-hmm.
system, who don't necessarily um, and this is old man yells at cloud. This is me definitely speaking from a perspective of someone who started well before that, but it is
Right.
frustrating to see like an entire scene being taken over by people who prioritize Instagram followers and
TikTok.
like making clips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like there are a lot of those people, but there are still the other types of comedians that are interesting too.
Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I think that because of social media, a lot of things are changing right now. A lot of style of comedy is different now. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think probably the first comedian I met out of, and it was through TikTok. But Sam J was the first comedian out of
Yeah.
Boston that I remember. That's how we were introduced because I had started comedy in DC. So it was him. He was
Ah.
like, "Hey, you're a lesbian. You're a lesbian. You want to come to my comedy?"
Yeah, you guys should get to know each other. Yeah. Okay, cool.
So that was that. But I also thought, Sam J was not that she isn't funny, but I was just saying she was, another comedian where I was just like, okay, I'm having more intelligent jokes. I'm hearing
Yeah.
from another queer comedian that's not just out here like just using their sexuality at no shade. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But sometimes jokes are more than, I know we start with our identities first and the way we look
Yes.
and the way we appear, but there is so much more to us than that we can talk about, so it is sometimes it's not a lot in a lot of queer shows. Sometimes you can't get a lot of the jokes are the same.
Yes.
A
Yes,
lot
yes,
of the
yes.
jokes are very similar, so I like it when there's queer comedians that step outside or just comedians in general that step outside the box, and we're hearing something more than just like sex jokes and stuff. And I mean, I know what we can go to, but like really pushing our brains, and I'm sure that's what these institutions and being in Boston during this time did for you. That's something that you can take, and nobody can get that right now. There's so many things. I mean, the scenes are so different now, and even the young and the comedians are getting younger, and it's just different. All right, I'm not frustrated at all. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let me move on. You performed everywhere from the Tonight Show to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. How do you balance the intimacy of comedy clubs with the pressure of major television performances? So I like it when people break things down between like comedy festivals. What's TV like? Because not every comedian is on a late night show.
Yeah.
So what's that like for you?
So my late night experience is really weird because it was during the pandemic, and
Okay.
like it was
Was it the rooftop thing?
mine was the rooftop one.
Okay.
So it's just like the year before, so that was in 2021. So actually 2 years before, so 2019, I did the Stand Up NBC program where they fly you out, you stay in a hotel, you meet with casting people, you have a show. I did poorly on that show. It was really disheartening, and it felt like a part of my heart broke a little bit because I was in front of all these people and I didn't do that well. But the booker for the Tonight Show is, I guess, connected with that program at Stand Up NBC. And so he saw my set and he saw me do the Harriet Tubman joke. And then on the Tonight Show, they had Henry Louis Gates. And I think they were like, oh shit, who do we put comedically with Henry Louis Gates? And they're like, Harriet Tubman joke girl, get her over here. And then so I didn't have to do some of the rounds of like revision, but they were like, you can't say like, because the end of that joke is like, who's a woman that I wouldn't want to have sex with? And so like I like go into like having sex with Harriet Tubman and how people do or don't want to do that, and so I had to just essentially cut the end of the joke off, but I did that. So that has always felt like things like TV, things like some of these like festival stuff has always kind of felt like this kind of serendipitous, like someone just plucked a name out of a hat and you're here now. Whereas performing feels more like I chased this, I'm pursuing it more actively, I guess. And by pursuing it more actively, some of these other things happened. But that I feel like has been more pursuit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, it's one of those things, like, you don't even know, with comedy, you don't know, like, everybody, I don't want to say everybody, but for the most part, a lot of comedians dream of being on, like, a late night, having their late night spot. A lot of times we prepare, like, even within our first 5 years, I say 2 to 5 years, for that sharp 5 minutes.
Yeah.
To get on TV. But, so you don't really know. We have a lot of moments where we're like, oh, this isn't our best, and we're in our head and stuff. Oh, who's watching and who's
Yeah.
like, no, that's kind of what we need. We need somebody like you, and I'm in a way, they need somebody. There needs to be more representation out there, but like somebody that looks like you, that no offense to it, but that nerdy black girl, like,
Yeah.
vibe,
I'm not offended. I'm not offended.
I want to normalize that more, because it's like where everybody wanted to, no shade to Tiffany Haddish, but I'm just like, everybody wanted that loud black girl, and I was like, no. I was like, you guys don't know what I've seen. Like, even family members, I'm like, you don't know what I see out there, that like the things that you're like, hey, you either talk like a white girl or you do that, or they don't understand that, like, of the way I am, and then I'm just like, you don't realize there are a lot of people
There's a
who
lot of
that are
people who fit
talking.
into this category. Yeah.
Exactly. So I like it when you like people like you or like just in general any of us that are out there that don't just have your ordinary black female with voice,
Yeah.
a black woman voice out there, and that really is actually cool to watch. So and I'm glad that people pick up on that and they're like, hey, this is the person that we need because I opened for a guy and this guy, he's a TikToker. He does like pranks and stuff like that.
Okay.
DC, and our audience is so different. But
Yeah.
it's like such an alternative vibe. So it was just like I still fit like to open for him, but
Uh-huh.
it was still awkward because it was just kind of like I was like, I don't, we were so different, but I was always so grateful that we were just put in the same space together because I don't know any other space that we would have been put in because he's just like he's just like, he's famous off of his TikTok.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to get discovered for like who you are. And
Hmm.
yeah, it sucks that you have to cut a little piece of your joke, but I understand some things that people may think for television might be probably
Yeah.
freaking hilarious. That's the best part.
I know. See, that's the funny part of it. But sure, the other part too. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right, right.
I
And
felt so. Thank you for remembering. It was a rooftop. It was 25 degrees
I
outside. It was rough.
I remember that, and that's the thing. Like you and I mean, there were a few other comedians that I know that were doing a spot like that, and I was like, geez, I can only imagine what's that, because we were already adjusting to, the things changing, and we're just
Yeah.
like, well, this is what it is. But I think they kept that on going for a while. I think maybe like within the past 2 or 3 years, maybe they changed it back to inside or something, which makes sense.
Mhm.
But they were doing that rooftop for quite a while for after COVID. Or not really, it's not over, but you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So Edinburgh film. I say film festival because that's stuck in my head. Edinburgh Festival. So you preparing for that, and what was that like? Preparing for your solo show at Edinburgh, like, yeah.
Sure. So I wrote a solo show as a challenge to myself, and so the solo show is called "Don't Kill Yourself Yet," and I had been thinking about making a solo show anyway, which was about like having depression, and the things that end up making me feel better are frustratingly the things that my mom and my sister tell me to do, which is like drink a glass of water,
Yeah.
sleep, eat a meal, go for a walk, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So I'd already thought about doing that, and then I had a stroke. And then it became like you can do all these things, and then your body tries to kill you anyway. So that became the show. I had the stroke at the end of July 2022. I performed the show for the first time in the end of July 2023. So like on the 1 year anniversary, I was really excited to come back and do the show. And then the following year, because I toured it around and I performed it in different places, I did it at Edinburgh. So
Oh.
2024. Yeah,
I did not know that happened. Oh, I'm sorry. Like
it's
that's
okay.
scary. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh wow. So that's like this was almost. I like how you took that and kind of ran with it and created your story because I think in comedy like that's a special gift to be able to talk about something probably so traumatic that or even that experience. Why haven't I died yet? That was the name of that's what they might
Don't kill
have.
yourself yet.
Oh, don't kill yourself yet.
Yeah.
So wow, that is crazy because strokes like kind of sneak up on you, but wow, so that kind of prepared you. And how was it like with the audience and how responsive was the audience to your set or your solo show?
So it was funny. Funny is not a yeah. So like I was working with one manager, and we had talked about me doing Edinburgh. She had connected me to one of the paid Edinburgh organizations, and it was like, okay, so you're gonna have to pay like out of pocket at least like 5,000 just to even participate in this, and then maybe
Okay.
you'll make some of that back, and then all this stuff. So I had said, you know what? I didn't have a solid job at the time. I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna do this, and I
Yeah.
had applied to the free fringes.
Okay.
They never wrote me back. One free fringe wrote me back at the end of June.
Which
Like,
is late. Yeah.
yeah, which is crazy late because everyone else has already made all their accommodations in January, February. And I was like, well, I don't have a job, but I mean that in the way now that it feels like I have the flexibility to do this and it's free. And they connected me with student housing, which costs significantly less than a lot of the other rentals and accommodations. And so it was like, well, I guess I could do this, and I do have a show. So, like, I
Yeah.
was mine, and I didn't have time to like reach out to all of the publications and get a bunch of reviewers in and all that.
Hmm.
But I did. I went and I worked on my show, and I memorized it to a point that, like, okay, I know this show well,
Hmm.
and I know which beats are working and which things I can leave behind. So I had a more streamlined version of it coming out of that. So I was excited to use it as like a boot camp for my show,
Okay.
but I was not using it as I think several comedians that I know who have gone and had a negative experience where you're hoping for a big platform to increase your status, visibility, um,
Yeah.
all that stuff. They really wanted to up their profile, and that
Hmm.
did not happen at Edinburgh. So I'm happy that I went in with very low expectations,
Yeah.
and I got what I wanted to get out of it.
Yeah.
But I didn't get like it would be great if I could sit here and be like, oh, I experienced something like Fleabag or chewing gum or
Baby reindeer.
Baby Reindeer. I was like, yeah, where
Yeah.
it's like they make a show out of it. My career is catapulted. Suddenly I'm in the new Indiana Jones movie. Like, no, it was not. That's not what happened.
Yeah.
But I did learn my show really well, and I went on dates while I was there. I hung out with people.
Yes.
So yeah, like
Okay.
I have before traveled specifically to Europe for a period of a month. This time I was doing my show, but I was also going on long walks and going to restaurants and going on dates and meeting up with people. So, yeah.
You had an experience. It wasn't just about, it was something more than that. And that's almost the best part about having low expectations, because I've heard the good and the bad, but I won't say bad, but I've heard the good and the not so fun parts of Edinburgh, because there's so many shows, there's so many, so much
Yes.
competition. I don't know if you really want to put it that way, because
But
we're all
yeah, like,
different, you know?
because there
There's,
is a competition, like best newcomer, best this, that, and the third. But then
yeah.
also, how many reviewers do you get? How many star? Because people take the star ratings and they post it on the big posters around town. So like, you'll
Hmm.
visibly see like this person's getting a lot of attention and this person's not getting any attention and that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Right. Wow. That's
So it can
so
be a
true.
real popularity contest in certain ways. And I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm happy that I'm not like even my show was like a mile outside of like where all the other shows were. So
Yeah.
like if people wanted to come to my show, they would have to walk like the
Yeah.
30 minutes to get to my show. So
Yeah.
attendance was low. Some days it was 5 people. The lowest day was 3 people, and one of the people had a dog, so I count that as almost like 4 people because there was a
Yeah.
dog there.
Hey,
Um,
that dog was there listening. Okay. Don't.
yeah, I think one time it was like 4 people, but one of them was a guy who was unhoused who just wanted a place to lay down. So he just like leaned against a chair and like went to sleep, kind of. But like, you know what? It all counts.
Oh my
It was me
God.
running it. I made jokes. I had interactions with the audience. There was banter. So yeah.
New York, New York, and maybe even Boston prepares you for stuff like that. How many times have we been at whether it's an open mic or been at a show that doesn't have an audience, and we're literally screaming at, and I say screaming because our energies are up,
Yes.
and there's like one or two to three, the producer or the host is like,
We
oh
can
my
do it. Let's do it. You're like,
and you
is
gotta
this worth
be
it to them?
so I think that like you got to come to New York and perform in order to be prepared for that. 'Cause,
Yes.
man, that will crush your entire dreams. Like
It
literally,
absolutely. If I
this is my
defined
worst.
myself based on how many
Yes.
people showed up, yes, my dreams would be crushed. I would feel terrible. But I've been in New York specifically. I'm like, there are 2 shows that will always stick in my memory. One
Yeah.
show was at Halyards, and
Yeah. Oh.
it was a booked show. But
Uh-huh.
truly, only one person came, and we were like, "We don't have to do the show," and she was like, "No, do it." And so we all did the things, and her name is Rebecca. We became friends on Instagram after this
Oh my
because we
God.
all just did our sets for Rebecca. And then
Yes.
at the end, we were like, "Well, you're the only person who hasn't caught up on stage. Do you have anything you want to say?" And so
Oh
she got
God.
up and she said some things. She's not a stand-up, but she's like, "Okay, I'm saying some things into the mic too."
You're basically treating it like an open mic at that point.
Yes.
But that's Halliers. I have to say, I love the spot, and they had some good mics there too. But yeah, they had some hit or miss. It was yeah, it's like there's a couple of rooms that are like that, but they were definitely. I would say a few years ago. I'm not sure what they are like now, but if
Hmm.
it's not a big show, or it's something where it's just a small producer that's just putting on something, You're probably just gonna be one of these
Yeah.
a bar full of people in the up front, but yet one person's like, nah, I came here for this
Yeah,
show.
yeah. It was like I've followed Rebecca. Like she battled cancer. She learned Taekwondo. She has a kid now. I've like been following Rebecca just because she was the only person who was there. It was so nice of her to like really participate in this way. And I'm like, that's a kind soul who I want to keep track of. And she wrote me after I had a stroke because we follow each other. And she was like, yeah, I want to hear what your experience was like versus like some of the cancer treatment stuff. And so I'm like really pro that one lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Wow.
one time it was the back room of maybe a karaoke bar. It was like real sketched out, and it was just like, but like four people came to a show,
Yeah.
and two were these two black dudes, and I remember saying a joke that was making them laugh so much that one guy A was like slapping his knee, and one guy like got up, like turned her, like walked down the aisle, turned around, and like shook his head, and then sat back down, and I was like, this is success. I don't care if it's only four people. I made this man get up and be like, whew, I gotta deal with these thoughts, and I was like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. There. I had during the pandemic, I had a rooftop too. That was like it was. I think it was a group of friends, but it was like two black girls, and there was like maybe three black girls, and there was like one black guy. And the guy got up. I don't know. I didn't even care for that joke, whatever I was saying. And he got up and hugged me. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's how close we were, and I was just like, oh. I was like, I hate that photo because I didn't like the outfit or anything. I was just like, this is such a sweet moment.
Yes,
That
like this is
exactly.
deeply validating. Like I am connecting. We are doing this. Yes.
Oh man, that's hilarious, and you definitely changed my perspective on having a smaller audience. Like it's you don't realize the value of like the small audience because also they hold so much more power. That is stronger than having a packed house of
Yeah.
people who barely even want to listen or maybe they're talking and stuff. I would rather have those strong three. I would rather have that guy going up and down the aisle.
Yeah. And where
Like,
I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm telling jokes, and not just like it's not I'm doing it. I'm a successful comedian. It's I'm doing it. The thoughts that I have are resonating with people because,
yes.
and I think some comedians would relate to this. And if they don't, honestly, I question why they're a comedian. Where this is the way that I've been able to express my thoughts that I had that sometimes made me feel alone or isolated or different than other people. And I love, love, love when I am saying something and it resonates so deeply with other people and knowing that we are sharing the same experience. We have had the same thing. We
Yes.
build this up.
Yes.
So yeah, I that's one day I hope I'm successful. One day I hope I make enough money to have a comfortable life. One day,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But
Yeah.
the thing that I feed off so much, and I remember that had to be like 7 years ago because it was pre-pandemic that this man did this walkabout, and it
Yeah.
still sticks with me. Like, oh, I
I
have
love
the
that.
ability to connect like this. Yeah.
One thing I don't know what book I read this. I read a lot of self help books that I don't even know where I pulled this from, but basically they said that like it's good to picture the yourself or anytime before you do a set or anytime you perform and maybe it's a really big set. Well, think about how you want to feel, but like what are those sets, when you've had your first standing ovation or you have something
Yeah.
like that, think about that feeling and that's what you want out of the audience, if not better, but
Hmm.
that's always something that I think, and also I before every set I'm just like I just want my words to resonate with the audience,
Yeah.
and I think that that's a good intention to make. But yeah, it's always good to focus on those moments because it was either those big or small moments, and I don't even call those small moments because those moments they're a memory for you, they're a feeling for you that you carried on to this day,
Yeah.
and it's like I always want there to be that guy, even if it's just one. I always want that kind of guy in the audience, like just being like, hell yeah, like let's do, just giving you like that motivation,
Yes.
because you're like, okay, this is meant. This is, it reminds you that you kind of blank out the fact that like maybe it was a small audience. It reminds you that you're still living in your purpose.
Hmm.
You're still walking in those steps that took you to this point, and yeah, so I would say, I know that you've let's see, so BET Awards and Comedy Central. You worked on projects like that, which is really cool. I always wanted to do like a award show. I think I had Pat Brown on recently, and she broke that down a little bit. But
I'm
what do you
seeing
think?
her tonight.
Oh,
She
really?
is in. She lives in Charlotte now,
She
and
does with her wife, yeah.
Yeah, they are. Uh, she and Yamanika are at Duckworth's, and I'm performing truly like across the street. So I'm going to run over and say hello to them,
That is so
and then yeah,
cool. Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, she was like, it's a lot different, of course.
yes,
Having living down there, because like New York, you have everything right there, whereas
mm-hmm.
like I guess North Carolina's a little more slow, but it's Pat Brown. Like Pat Brown's gonna always have the jobs, and people are gonna be booking her. So I'm sure she's
Yeah.
doing amazing down there. But what have you learned behind the scenes that's changed your approach to your own comedy by working on these award shows or even
So
comedy store? Yeah.
Uh, the award show thing was because I had opened for Amanda Seales a couple of
Mm-hmm.
times,
Okay.
and then she asked me to do this, and I think I did not do the type of job that she wanted to because she's never asked me again. So I
She's a
guess
very
I,
honest person.
yeah, I was like, I guess I didn't do a good job, and that's
Okay.
a thing. I didn't understand the job. It was my first time doing the job as writer's assistant for
Okay.
one of these
Okay.
things, and so I don't think I was as quick at typing, or maybe I wasn't. The thing is, I learned that there are lots of different ways of doing comedy. And by that I mean like writing for an award show is different than writing stand up is different than writing like a TV script or something like that. And so it's just like, oh wow, there's lots of ways to do this. And I have some of the skills to do some of these things, but I may not necessarily have the skills or I haven't worked on them and honed them enough to do this thing exceptionally well. At Comedy Central, I really liked that it was using my stand up brain and my film brain to
Mm-hmm.
figure out how to create content. And knowing that I can do that, and then this past month in July, I did the climate comedy cohort, which is put on by Generation 180 and the Center for Media and Social Impact to create content around climate change and electric vehicles and stuff. And I was really pleased with the fact that, oh, I can very clearly articulate the idea for a sketch, come up with a plan, and I'm good at directing. And I have all these things, and I've been working on them, and I was working on them for a year and a half at Comedy Central. And so to know that I have those skills and continue to hone those skills felt really good. And I think other people in that cohort noticed, like, oh, you seem very comfortable, like, pitching ideas to a room, and you don't feel necessarily crushed if we don't like an idea. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, because if my job is to pitch a lot of things, then I can pitch a lot of things. And that felt really nice.
Yeah, and then also like it's one of those where you can't get married. I mean, you can't be married to like your work or your pitches.
Yeah,
These are things that people are like. You might have spent time on it, but they're like, you
yeah.
gotta
And I'm
take
like,
that.
and that's okay. And that means maybe you can use that idea for something else later. You can continue to develop it in the background, whatever. But just the idea is push stuff out. And that is what I've been doing with collage because I do feel like uh, a hesitance and almost a shyness, which is strange, of like posting something because I'm like, it's not good, and then I end up not posting anything ever. And so now I'm like in this thing where the stakes seem way less high,
Mm-hmm.
collage, because I'm not a collage artist. No one's paying me to be a collage artist. No one put me on a list of collage artists, and then everything I do is suddenly like, wait, are you upholding that? Are you meeting expectations? Are you disappointing expectations? Like it's just like a whole thing. But with collage, I don't have any of that. So I've just been like actively posting a collage every day to say like get used to making something, posting it, and sitting in the place that yes, some things are going to be liked more than others, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're bad or even that that piece is bad, but you are learning in public. So
Yeah.
continue to learn in public.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that all this is great. Everything with being a creator is just based off of like your experience, and every room is going to be different. Everybody's going to be different. People are going to like things, and some people are not going to like things. So I think that even like comedy, even stand up comedy, has normalized that to where you're just like, all right, well, I know this bit works,
Yeah,
where I like, but it may have not have resonated with this audience, but here we are.
yeah,
So it's kind of like that's kind of how you have to treat the creative world. That like it's not that they're trying to disrespect your ideas and your process and your journey, but it's just not what they envisioned it being,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's actually pretty cool how your perspective on that, and I also like that. That's why I always like. It's always good to take away, listen, and actually take criticism too from like these spaces because you don't know what people really want, and maybe there's something that's like really common that people want in each room. And I'm only saying that because I'm watching Project Runway right now, and I'm watching
Uh-huh.
like people have a
The new
hard time
season?
taking criticism. Yeah, the new. Are you watching that one?
I think so. My mom and I just put some stuff on Hulu and we watched it and we were like, this person's not good. This person, da da da
Yeah,
da da. Is it the
yeah.
season where for some reason they don't announce who was cut until the beginning of the next episode?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they did that. We caught up with it last night, and they did that the episode before that where they did it the next one. But we're also watching. I'm also watching the season 19, and I think this was like post, like right after the pandemic or something
Uh-huh.
like that. So they're good. I just don't care for the judges. Them having law roaches has changed the game, or just having more of a diverse. They were just so it would like because it's one of those where like you would see an outfit and then it'll be not there like it'll be the person that has like the most basic outfit that they
Yeah.
created, and I'm just like that's the part that pissed me off because I'm like you're not aligned with the judges at all. Like
Yeah.
whatever, I can go on and on about these movies, but I'm grateful that Law Roach is on it because Law Roach is gonna sit back and be like, I hate it.
Yeah.
He's like, I hate it.
And you need like I don't think you should have too many judges like that, but you absolutely
No,
need
he
a
needs the one.
judge, yeah, who
He
will be
definitely
like
needs the one.
actually no and
Right.
yeah.
It's you know what I mean. So it's just like, but I watch them and I know they're passionate about what they do, but I was like, you still gotta accept the criticism
Mm,
or the critiques because you have to know that like yes, they're all established in their own way, but like maybe there's something you could take away from this. Maybe there's just one thing you could take away, but I also know they're overwhelmed and they have like these weird schedules and stuff. So
yeah,
there's a
they
lot of things that go
they
into it.
really make it hard for like the sleeping schedule, the eating schedule, the you're never alone, there's a camera in your face all the time.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I don't think I would do that well. I have
right,
applied for a competition show in the past,
yeah,
and it is always like, oh man, do I have, in addition to having the jokes, do I have the psyche and the mental fortitude to get through this without having a complete public meltdown? I don't know that I
thank
do.
you. Because stand up NBC, I think that was like the probably I've done other competitions and stuff before, but not anything recent. But stand up NBC was I made it to the second round. We had to stay outside or something like that, and I made it
Yeah.
to the second
Oh,
round.
I
After
hated that.
after that, exactly because 8 o'clock in the morning, you're like,
I slept on a sidewalk once. This was when I think I still lived in Boston, and I was like,
okay,
"Oh, I was visiting town," and they're like, "Hey, do you want to try out for this thing?" And I was like,
yeah,
"Sure." So me and Hasmin and some other people like
yeah,
slept on the sidewalk, and I was so lucky that I had a membership to like Boston Sports Club, with such you use New
oh,
York
use the
Sports
bathroom.
Club. So I like took a shower in a gym and then came
Oh
back.
wow, oh
But
you were fancy. Oh yeah,
uh,
because
because most
I
people just didn't shower, they just like
no.
slept on the sidewalk, and I was like, I need to do something. I can't just do this. Yeah.
That was hard. That was so hard. Yeah. So that was like probably the only one. I'm just like, this is not. But now they allow you. I think that I don't know if it's still going, but I know they allow you to like submit tapes and stuff like that. So you can
Okay.
do it on the sidewalk. But anyway, so I have like kind of like my last question.
Okay.
Maybe I'll have like maybe a tiny thing after this.
That's fine.
If you could shape the next era of your comedy, what voices or stories do you think you need to be amplified right now?
Okay. So I like this question. I think it's a good
You like it?
question.
Okay. Okay.
So the next few years of my comedy, I am definitely trying because I've been like quite dirty and but not dirty in a way that's less like, sex,
Yeah.
me,
Mhm.
It's I do think I bring an analytical eye to it, and some of that like Boston smarty pants stuff I bring to it.
Mhm.
I want to continue to look at identity because I think as I've grown older, I myself have become less like I don't drink anymore. I don't like go out as much. And I date, but like I'm not dating to like prove something to myself anymore. Like I'm not dating because I need someone there or because I just want to have sex or something.
Mhm.
So it's less of like jokes about maybe misadventures, and more like, wait, how are we defining these groups that we put ourselves into, and what dumb ideas are we taking from our youth and we're bringing them into now, but that doesn't make any sense. Like, why did we believe these people who put these things into our brains?
Right.
So I definitely want that to be a part of it, and definitely looking at sex as like an activity that people do, but like, why do we do the things? Why are we doing it like this? And
Yeah.
what's the plan here? And also just like looking at like it's certainly gender related, but it is like there are so many things like we were told that we could have it all, but now it feels like we have to have it all. And like I don't want to do that and be responsible for wearing heels and eyeliner. Like that's not
Right.
fair. That's like
Yes.
I don't want to do that.
Yes.
So discussing that openly because I'm never going to be a 23-year-old thin white woman who the industry desperately wants to be in things. I'm not going to be that person, but I can be me and I can talk about like it feels like there's this weird external pressure against which I can never measure up. And I think making jokes about that mainly speak to a female audience. I have jokes that of course speak to men, but I like speaking specifically to a female audience and discussing our concerns. And so I think I see the future of my comedy continuing to do that.
Yeah, yeah, I love that, and that's important. I think that that's like probably I would say that's on the top of the list of what of the conversations that in comedy even that I feel like need to be had because a lot of times we get up and we have to look even I'm sure you might be different, I'm different than how I start when I came out and started doing comedy,
Mhm.
sometimes I feel like I have to explain to people maybe why I look like this now or why I am the way you know what I mean, and I
Yeah.
think that we have to normalize the diversity within the diversity, you know what I mean, like we
Yeah.
got to break things down and it shouldn't be we shouldn't have to fit into some mold in order to like be this person's type or be this or walk this way or talk this way or just
Yeah.
I just feel like there's so many other society's expectations of what women should look like and be like, and these are whether it's heterosexual or queer women, it does not matter. People are always trying to put you in a box or
Yeah.
platform, and so it's good to be able to talk about that because then they can remember Kenice and be like, oh yeah, like maybe there's another person that reminds you of Kenice, you know what I mean, or like that. There's other girls that are trying to find their voice, and
Yeah.
that you could be resonating with them in the audience that are going to see you and be like, oh my god, I can be this person, you know what I mean? So I love that. And also, my last question would be, if you could, I would say maybe 5-year-old you, maybe I don't know. I have a hard time going back to ages of how I want to ask this question, but the younger you, if you could give yourself some advice for the 5-year-old you, what advice would that be? Or the quiet you, the one that was like kind of the quiet twin, you know?
Yeah. Don't hold yourself to other people's standards like that, and not in an academic way, certainly in a beauty way. Like right now, when you ask that, I think of when I started comedy, and there were so many people who were like, no, funny is funny, and you should be able to be funny in any kind of room. And if you're not appealing to this group, like if you're not appealing to the generic white male 18 to 25 audience, then like you're just not trying hard enough. You're just not funny. But it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. How many of those people go into all black rooms and
Yeah,
take jokes? How many of those groups go into all female rooms and do this thing?
yeah,
So, like, also the reaction is fundamentally different to me. Like, to assume that I even have the ability to be in front of every type of audience is flawed because
yeah,
they don't listen just straight off the gate. And the things that I've seen work to get those people aren't things that I want to do. So, one thing that has worked that I've seen people do is essentially disavow your blackness. So,
yeah,
like, if you are in a majority space, make fun of your blackness and yourself so that they feel like they can laugh at that part of it,
mm-hmm.
and then you can kind of get that audience. But honestly, I'd rather not have those laugh if it means literally cutting out chunks of myself.
Yeah,
It's what that feels like ultimately. And that's part of the reason why I'd stopped doing the Harriet Tubman joke. Like I brought it back to do for the Tonight Show, but I haven't really done that because it would feel like, okay, these people will only laugh at me if I call myself ugly, if I diminish blackness in a certain way. Like, if I have to do all of that to get you to laugh at me,
Mm-hmm.
and not at my thoughts, but at me, a clown in front of you, then that's not the type of jokes that I want. So consider what you actually want and who you're empowering to give it to you. Because if I counted on only white male 18 to 24 to laugh at me to judge my self worth, I would have a very low sense of self worth.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Because I mean, these are things that like we don't get a chance to say out loud, or that people don't fully understand. Especially coming from your experience, from my experience, from either somebody of color or just in general as a woman alone. Like people don't know what they're thinking, and it's like good thing we have the platform to be able to introduce
Yeah.
them to something new and different. And yeah, that's wonderful. That's great advice. That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
So, so now we're gonna go into like a fun rapid fire game, and
Okay.
this is me asking like, I don't know, what is this, like eight little short questions. You don't even need to think about it. Just say whatever comes to mind.
I might say something wrong. I accept that.
There's no wrong. There's
Okay.
low stakes right here.
Okay.
All right. So go to comfort food after a long night of performing. Ooh.
Go to comfort food after a long night of performing. I'm actually trying to change this because it's not healthy that I do this, but it is a pint of Ben & Jerry's The Tonight Dough. I love it, and it's very easy for me to finish a pint. Someone was like, oh, it was my friend's dad, and he was like, oh, I can only eat like a few scoops of that. It's so rich. And I was like, I've never experienced that in my life. I can finish the pint. I know I'm done because the spoon hits the bottom of the thing. In fact, if there were more ice cream, I would eat it. I don't have whatever that mechanism that you have that would stop. I don't have that. So I can eat the whole thing and then be like, oh, where'd that thing go? That's, yeah.
I love it. You're confident in your ice cream, and my thing is, yeah, it's the guilt trip. If you can get that voice out of your head, eat the freaking thing. Just finish it, because it's not. I tease myself and do the two nights in a row.
Yeah.
I want that now.
Yeah. I can't buy it because I will just eat it all right then. But yeah, I love it, and it's delicious. And if I have taken half an edible after a show, that is the fucking best. To put on a movie that I like, just chew. I have a specific ice cream spoon. It's a heavier weight. It's like a denser spoon, and it can really get into. I love it. I fucking love it.
That changes the game seriously, because now I have to heat up a regular spoon
Yeah.
to get in there. Now you can just dive in.
Yeah, boom. It's my special, like, little, I'm like, feel the weight of the spoon. It's a heavier spoon, okay? You have to understand, it's a heavier spoon.
Okay, so it has the,
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I love that for you, though.
It's
Good
so
for
tough.
you.
I don't do it very often, but, like, on my birthday, I will allow myself to do this now.
You
But,
have to.
yeah.
That's like other people's party versions of taking shots and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that kind of ice cream.
Yes.
At least you can wake up the next morning and feel good about yourself.
Sort of. I mean, it does mess up my digestive tract, but we're good. We're good.
Yeah, I'm definitely too lactose intolerant to pull that off, but because I definitely don't go to vegan ice cream. I do the Talenti.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the funniest piece of advice you've ever been given.
The funniest, this is advice / feedback, but it had to be like 2015 or so. I was in New Hampshire, and there's a comedian there, and I will remember this till the day I die. He was like, Kenice, female comedians can either be like hot, or they can be funny. And you know what I like about you, Kenice, is you're funny. And just like, focus on that. And I'm like, thanks for that. Thank you. So I'm definitely not hot. That's what you just wanted a roundabout way of saying no one in this room considers you to be hot. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'll say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Awkward ass.
Yeah. Also, who the fuck are you?
You.
You're an open micer from New Hampshire, and you're gonna tell me that you're helping me with the keys to my comedic success? Okay. Cool. Great.
People are freaking weird. men, they know they're doing this. They know that they're freaking
It's
weird.
weird,
And
dude.
they're
Why
like,
you
right
could simply
for
say
you.
nothing, and yet you
Yeah.
were like, "I need to say this. I need
Right,
to."
right. It's like I just gotta
Yeah.
get this off my chest.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Okay.
gosh. I hope he's somewhere not there anymore in the comedy world. Who knows?
Yeah.
Let's see. A comedian, past or present, you'd love to share the stage with.
This sounds up my own butt, and I accept this, but a lot of my heroes I've been able to perform with.
Nice.
Like especially like when we think of heroes, but like people who haven't been canceled. Ugh. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, like I've been able to stay. Like I started comedy after listening to Gary Gulman. He had like 2 or 3 albums on Spotify in 2013, and I listened to those on repeat all the time. And so I've had the chance to both meet him and be on his shows before, and that has been deeply meaningful to me. And then when I was growing up, there was a lady named, I mean, there is a lady, but when I was growing up, there was a lady named Laura Keitlinger, and she did like fast paced jokes that were very snarky. And I met her at Limestone, and then I've stayed at her house in Los Angeles, and like we've done shows together, and like we keep in touch. And so that means so much to me because I grew up with Laura Keitlinger like as a model for like this is like a pretty model looking white woman, but just mean as all get all. And I'm like, yes, be mean. So yeah.
That's definitely a great full circle moment. You've had a couple of those. That's really nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. One word to describe your style, your comedy style.
Absurd. I
Fair.
was like silly, thoughtful, but definitely like it's an intentional absurdity. Like it's over the top and silly and dirty, but it is absurd. Yeah.
Okay, I love that. If you weren't doing comedy, what totally unexpected career would you be in?
If I wasn't doing comedy, I know what I would be doing because it would probably have meant that I went through and got my PhD in psychology and didn't pursue film. I would be probably a professor somewhere, and I would be specifically studying how we form our beliefs and ideas around sex and sexual practices because that's what I was interested in when I was younger. So like like I wonder how watching Sex in the City with my mom in the 90s affected what I thought was normal, what I thought was how men and women and sexual partners should interact. And I desperately want to understand specifically how media shapes our ideas of what is a common practice, what isn't a common practice, what type of person we are, how is that shaped by the media that we see. So I would be studying that.
Oh, it's really nice and very interesting. Yeah, I think studying psychology, I didn't realize like how interesting it is because I
It's
do
so
like
interesting.
what the human mind, the development behind the human mind, and even as little as like from baby to adults, like how our brains are like formed and how we process things. So I feel you there. A city or venue that surprised you with how fun the audience was.
Whew, that is tough. Um, I headlined something in Charlotte. I want to say, oh, this had to be like 2018, 2019. And given that this is the town I'm from and I don't necessarily see it as like a bastion of humor, um, I think I was surprised that people were getting it and laughing and into it. And one lady was like, "We are going to be friends after this." And we have never spoken. But the idea that people connected to it so much, they were like, "This is me. I am this. I must be friends with that thing." And I was like, "Yes, okay."
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. And what is your last one? Your most used emoji?
Probably the clapping emoji. Probably like a yay, you did it.
Okay.
But I'm realizing that some people use it like my mom was like, this is the list of how people are using emojis like sarcastically or like, and I'm like, I hope people aren't taking it as like a you did it, like a Nancy Pelosi clap. Like I'm hoping that it's not like that, but it is for me often like, yay, you're doing the thing that you wanted to do, or like
Yeah.
that's a good point, or hell yeah, this
Yeah.
like lauding that you're posting about a show that seems like a big deal or something.
Yeah.
So probably that or the black thumbs up because I'm like, I don't do yellow anymore. I do a black thumbs up.
That's very specific. I love that.
Yeah.
I do that with my well, I did that with my job and like my work phone and everything like that. But yeah, I do think that the clapping, because now they add the clapping emoji to LinkedIn. So if you see a post on LinkedIn and people are like, "Oh, I got a promotion," you can do the clapping emoji.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm happy that they got a promotion. Congratulations. Let's give you an applause. But something about LinkedIn and they're trying to be like too much of a social media platform. And I'm like, everybody shut up. Shut up.
Nobody's getting jobs from LinkedIn. I'm putting it that way. Unless you're paid. Now they're asking for money, and it's really stupid.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
It
I
is.
hate it. Yeah.
But in any case, that's the end of that. And I just wanted you to kind of have a moment to be able to plug your. Do you have any shows coming up? Where can people find you otherwise?
Okay, so I'll answer both of those questions in the same thing. So the place you can find me is KeniceMobley.com. I'm also on Kenice Mobley on all of the platforms. I'm lucky that my name is specific, so I was able to, I guess, get good optimization for that. My SEO is off the charts because I'm the only Kenice Mobley, but please ignore anything that you search for me and that it's bad. That was a while ago, so just ignore that. On my website, you can see my calendar, and for September, it is quite full because I have been out of town for 2 months, and I get back to New York next week. And so from the 11th to the end of the month, I think I have like 20 shows. So, dear, for the love of God, please come to one of my shows. But the thing that I'm going to be promoting until November, because it is a big fucking deal to me, it is a dream of mine, and Littlefield helped make it a reality. I am having, as part of the New York Comedy Festival, a hot guy draft. I've been having a hot guy draft as part of a party, but now people will be able to form, like, there will be 4 comedians on stage. There will be a sports correspondent and a hot guy representative expert who will be able to speak to hot guys. We will be drafting celebrities into different teams, and then the audience will be able to vote on which team is the hottest, as well as giving their opinions as far as who is hot and not hot. So it will be dumb as hell and very funny.
That sounds fun. I'm gonna look up the date.
It is November 16th. It is at 3 in the afternoon because it's made by a millennial woman. And gosh darn it, I like being in bed at a reasonable time.
Thank you.
3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday. So you can go out to dinner after, you can go out to drinks after, and still be in bed and feel right on Monday morning. Come to the show.
Oh, I'm definitely going to be there. I was like, my show didn't get into New York Comedy Festival, so I was like, it's okay. I'm looking at it positive. I want to support other people's shows.
Thank
so
you.
That's definitely a show I'm going to go and drop in because that sounds hilarious.
It's going to be very dumb and lots of people yelling at each other about the stupidest shit possible.
That's so funny. Thank you so much for being a part. All right, Kenice, thank you so much for joining me on Undefining the podcast. Your journey through stand-up, film, and beyond is a reminder of how comedy can be both powerful and deeply personal. For everyone listening, you can find Kenice Mobley's work on stage, on streaming platforms, and across festivals worldwide. Be sure to check out her debut album, follow-up questions, and follow her online at KeniceMobley.com for updates on her shows and projects. This has been Undefining the Podcast. Remember, we're on IG at Undefining Podcast. We're on Buy Me a Coffee, TikTok, Spotify, Apple at Undefining the Pod. So make sure you check us out. I've been your host, Glo Butler. Thank you for listening. And until next time, keep redefining what's possible. See you later.